Okay. Welcome students to this session of political science class with me. In this session, I'll be taking a new chapter, okay? Chapter 14, that is International Organization in a Unipolar World. Now here, international organization, our special focus, okay, will be on the United Nations. The origin, okay, the origin and the evolution of United Nations as an international organization. What is the aim and objectives? The relevance, the importance of the United Nations, what are the reforms that has to be made in this United Nations, what are the specialized agencies, as well as the jurisdictions of the United Nations. And the other topic will be the non-governmental organization. But here, majority, the prime focus is on the United Nations, okay? So the first topic is the origin and evolution of United Nations. What led to the growth of United Nations? All right, now, origin. Now, the consequences of the First World War, okay? The impact of the First World War, it prompted the world leaders, okay, to form the League of Nations. Okay, origin here, the League of Nations. Writing in short, it was formed in 1920. Now, the purpose of the League of Nations is to preserve peace and prevent conflict, okay? Prevent conflict and to preserve peace. So, because of these two reasons, the League of Nations was formed in 1920. But we all know, right? The League of Nations, it failed to prevent the Second World War. Now, the Second World War started around 1939 and lasted till 1945. So, the League of Nations could last till 1939, that is from 1920 to 39. It could not stop or it could not prevent the Second World War. Now, these made the the leaders to come up with another organization known as the United Nations Organization, and it was formed in 1945. So we can say that the United Nations, it was evolved as a successor to the League of Nations, all right, in 1945. Now, the United Nations Organization, it tried to achieve in those areas where League of Nations failed to achieve, all right. Now, 1945, the exact date will be the 24th of October, 1945, okay. So this is how United Nations originated. First is the League of Nations. It was created because of the First World War. Now, the role of the League of Nations is to prevent conflict and preserve peace. But the League of Nations failed to prevent the Second World War. So this made to form another organization known as the United Nations Organization. So in other words, we can say that the United Nations Organization is a successor to League of Nations, and it tried to achieve in those areas where League of Nations failed to achieve, okay. Now, the official date is 24th of October, 1945. Now, we'll talk about this evolution. Now, under the evolution of United Nations, we have three important significant developments, okay. The first is the Washington Declaration of 1942. In this Washington Declaration, the name, that is United Nations, okay, it was devised by an American president named Franklin, okay. The name United Nations, it was devised by an American president Franklin, and in this Washington Declaration, 26 nations, or we can say 26 countries, they participated in this, all right. Now, in this declaration, 26 nations, they signed this one, UN Declaration, okay, 26 nations, and that happened on the 1st of January, 1942. So, this keyword under this will be, it devised the name United Nations, 26 countries participated, and where they signed the UN Declaration, that is on the 1st of January 1942. Okay. Now, the second is the Dumbarton Oak Conference. Now, Dumbarton Oak Conference, here 4 major countries, okay. 4 major countries, we have Britain, France, Russia, and United States of America. These 4 countries, they made at Dumbarton Oak, which is in near Washington. Okay. Now, the importance of this conference is that these 4 major countries, they formulated the UN Charter. Okay. Now, here the importance is 4 countries where they formulated the UN Charter. All right. Now, the third one, the San Francisco Conference here. In this conference, over 50 countries, okay? Over 50 countries, they started deliberation, talks, discussion on this, the UN Charter, to come up with a UN Charter. In other words, we can say the UN Constitution also. All right. Now, 50 countries, they discussed, they debate, and then finally, they took up the UN Charter. They signed this one, the UN Charter, that is on the 26th of June, which happened to be the last date of the conference, okay? That is in 1945. Now, the country Poland, okay? The Poland, she was allowed to sign the UN Charter even beyond this, that is on the October, that is 15th of October. 15th of October 1945. She was allowed to sign the UN Charter, thus it raised the membership to 51. This one is the original membership to the United Nations. Okay, now this charter, okay, when they signed it in 1945, the actual working, okay, the UN Charter, it came into force on the 24th of October 1945. Okay, the actual working, it came into force on this date. That is why 24th of October, it is celebrated as United Nations Day every year throughout the world, okay? Because it is on this date the actual working of the charter took place, okay? Now, at present, till 2011, it is said that 193 countries have joined the United Nations. Now, you should remember that 51 countries is the original members, okay, to the United Nations, and on 2011, it raised the membership to 193. So, this is the origin and evolutions of the United Nations. When you talk about the origin, you should start from the League of Nations, okay, that was formed or that evolved after the First World War. And when you write about the evolution, you have to mention these 3 significant developments. Under each, you have important keywords. That is, in the Washington Declaration, we have this United Nations. It was devised by an American President, Franklin. And in the Dumbarton Oak Conference, the 4 countries, they formulated the UN Charter. And in this San Francisco Conference, debates and deliberations were discussed to come up with a UN Charter, and 51 countries, they signed the UN Charter. That is why these 51 countries are considered as the original members to the United Nations. And at present, United Nations membership has increased to 193. All right. Okay, the next topic is this one, the objective and purposes of the United Nations. What are the aims, the purpose of the United Nations? Now, the objective and purpose of the United Nations, it is in the preamble, okay? It is in the preamble and Article 1 of the UN Charter. Okay? Now, the preamble and Article 1 of the UN Charter, it talks about the objective, the purposes, the aims of the United Nations. Okay, we all know, right? The United Nations, it was evolved to prevent conflict and preserve war. This is the main reason why United Nations came into being. So under the purpose and objective, the first point, it will to save the, point number 1, to save the succeeding generation from the scourge of war. Here in your text, the scourge of war, it is under inverted commas. Now, this is, the meaning of this is great suffering, okay, or great impact that is being brought by the impact of war, okay. Now, succeeding generation, that means the upcoming generation, okay. The focus of the UN is to save the upcoming generation from this impact of Great War, because the leaders have faced 2 great wars, right? The First World War and the Second World War. That's the reason why they do not want the upcoming generation to face such an impact, Okay, so this is the first point. Now the second will be to maintain international peace and security. Okay, maintain international peace and security, and to take measures, effective measures to stop any threat to peace. Okay, now point number 3, it is to develop friendly relations with the nations. Point number 3, friendly relations. Point number 4, we have to achieve international cooperation in the field of economic, social and cultural. Point number 4. Number 5 is to have respect for international law and international treaties. And the last one, to promote and have encourage for human rights and dignity of the individual. Okay, so these are the 6 objective and purposes of the United Nations. The first is to save the upcoming generation from the search of war. Point number 2, we have to maintain international peace and security. 3, to have friendly relations with the other nations. 4, to cooperate with each other in solving economic, social and cultural issues. 5, we have respecting international law and international treaties. And 6, respect for human rights and the dignity of the individual. So these are the 6 aims and objectives of the United Nations. Now, the United Nations, the headquarters of the United Nations is in New York City, which is in USA. Okay, so this is all about the origin, evolution and the objective and purposes of the United Nations. This next topic is about the structure. The structures of the United Nations. Now, United Nations, it has 6 principal organs, okay, under the United Nations. The first is the General Assembly. Now, we should remember that under the General Assembly, all the members, okay, all the members of the United Nations, they are a member to the General Assembly. For example, it has increased the membership to 193 countries, yeah, at present. So these 193 countries, they are a member, okay? They are a member to the General Assembly. Now, what are the functions or what are the area of focus for the General Assembly? What is their work, okay? The first one, they discuss any issues which is relating to peace and security, okay? That is the first function. Anything to do with peace and security. Now, number 2, they will elect, okay, elect non-permanent members to the Security Council. Now, Security Council is another major organs of the United Nations. Now, they will elect members to the Security Council and also members for the ECOSOC, that is Economic and Social Council. So, 2 members, okay, first for the non-permanent, second for the ECOSOC, Economic and Social Council. Now, point number 3, it will appoint, okay, it will appoint the Secretary General, okay, UN Secretary General. So the functions of the General Assembly is 2, we have one is elect and the other is appoint. Appointment for the Secretary General, that is on the recommendation and advice of the Security Council. Okay, and they will also elect members for the International Court of Justice, ICJ. Okay, International Court of Justice, the members will elect by the General Assembly as well as the Security Council. Both of them together, they will elect members for the International Court of Justice. Now, on issues, okay, all these 193 members, they have one vote. Any questions, okay? They have one vote. For example, electing to the non-permanent members, okay? Whenever the General Assembly decides a meeting for election to the non-permanent members to the Security Council, for that, they need a 2/3 majority, okay? Maximum majority is required for electing members to the non-permanent countries in the Security Council. But other questions relating to peace and security, for other questions, they need only simple majority, okay? 2/3 majority is required for the elections to the non-permanent members. All right, so this is the broad functions of the General Assembly. First is all the 193 members, they have one vote. The functions of the general, the focus will be they will elect members to the non-permanent Security Council and the members to the Economic and Social Council. Okay. Now, the General Assembly will appoint the Secretary General for the UN, and for the members of International Court of Justice, General Assembly and the Security Council, they will both elect. Now, when it comes to this elections of the non-permanent countries, they need a two-third majority. Okay, the General Assembly, it needs a two-third majority from the 193 members. And relating to other questions, they only need simple majority. So these are the major functions of the General Assembly. Now the other is the Security Council. This is the second organ, that is United Nations Security Council. The United Nations Security Council, it is also known as the Executive Wing or the Enforcement Wing. Okay, that's the other name for the Security Council, that is Enforcement or Executive Wing. Here in the Security Council, the membership is 15. Okay, in this 15, 5 is permanent and 10 is non-permanent. Okay, now the 5 permanent countries, they are also called the Big 5 countries. Okay, they are Britain, France, Russia, USA and China. They are the Big 5 countries. And what made them permanent or more superior is because of the presence of the veto power. Okay, this is what makes the 5 permanent members more powerful or more unique. Now, the other 10 members, non-permanent members, they are elected for, their term is only 2 years. Okay, after 2 years, they will again renew the membership to the Security Council. All right, so these are the membership of the Security Council. Now the aims and objective. Okay, the aims and objective, the focus area of the Security Council, we will discuss in the next session. We'll stop here. Okay, in the second organ, that is the Security Council, their work, their functions, and the latest military attack that the United Nations Security Council has authorized. Okay, we will discuss that in detail in the next session.